Hello, welcome to Ask the King, or as I should say, Endure the King. Now, will this be a drunk endure? Probably not. I do have a alcoholic beverage at hand on deck, but probably won't get drunk. That's not going to be the goal of this video. Unfortunately, I know some of you might want to see me drunk again, but it won't be like that. So we'll see. We will see. Let's get started. Without further ado,
Alright, hello everyone and welcome. DSP here. It's time for Ask the King. It's been quite some time. This is my bi-monthly Q&A show where you ask questions and I answer them. Now, I haven't done one since late April. This is actually episode 60. Yeah, 60 whole episodes of Ask the King have happened over the years. Today is July 7th, 2016. Lots of questions obviously have accumulated over the past several months. I like the fact that doing this show bi-monthly is getting so many questions saved up. It's a really cool thing. So thank you to those who posted your questions. Now,
I like to think, oh, it saves up questions. I get to save up questions bi-monthly. While he was whining for questions leading up to this, delayed this episode of Ask the King to get more questions. And now he's like, I get to save up all these questions. Okay.
there's 3 ways that you can get your questions posted for Ask the King. First, on thekingofhate.com.
Hold on, I'm gonna fix the audio because I think it was too quiet last time. And hopefully now it's better. I'll give it a listen when it's done with
Forums.
whatever.
There's a thread. There's already a thread right now for the next episode in 2 months. It's actually tentatively scheduled right now, I think, for September 8th, 2016, but roughly 2 months away from now. So you can post up now. Number 2, the day of, when I'm actually reading through the forum questions, I post up on my Twitter, which is right down here, @TheyCallMeDSP, and I say I'm accepting Twitter questions. And let me tell you, this time I actually picked a bunch of Twitter questions because I thought they were pretty good. Last but certainly not least, the third and best way for you to get your question answered is right down here in the bottom right left-hand corner, my Patreon. If you become a $20 patron of mine anytime between the time when I film episodes of Ask the King, it means that you're guaranteed to get your question answered on the show. And in fact, we're going to be opening the show with questions from a few of just such patrons. So, it's been a while since we did a show. Thank you for being patient. Please spread the word about the show because I don't talk about it that often. It's kind of a long-running staple of my stuff. So especially if you're a newcomer, welcome. But if you're not, if you're a long-time viewer and you wonder, gee, if I want to ask Phil a question, please direct them towards Ask the King, okay? Without further ado,
direct him at Ask the King. That doesn't happen for like 2 months. Hopefully he will remember your question. Hopefully.
jump right into episode 60. So our first question is from a patron. From Guitar Player 1939, he says, Phil, I was just thinking about starting up reviews on my own YouTube channel. I was wondering if you could give me some advice on how to score games.
Okay, I'll do what I did last time. I'll answer the question myself before Phil answers his question, so I can, whatever. If you're gonna review games, just review them for what they are. Review the game you have. That's the other thing. Like, that's what kind of pissed me off about a lot of people who reviewed Metal Gear Solid 5. Now, I do think that in some cases that game got scores that were over the mark. I think giving it a perfect 10 doesn't make sense. But I see a lot of people criticize Metal Gear Solid 5 for the game it could have been instead of the game that they had. Now, when I played Metal Gear Solid 5, I liked what I got. I enjoyed the game thoroughly. I've been playing the game, here and there. It's been the most played game of 2015 that I bought. So that's my thing. Just don't focus on the general opinion of things. Let's go off your own experience. That's kind of what Phil wanted to do with Mighty Number 9, but instead he spent that review shitting on other people's reviews. Now, yeah, you can say, well, the budget should reflect in the review. You can make a case like that, but uh, it's only gonna work for a certain context. You can't just look at a game's budget and then say, oh, that's a bad game because of this. But yeah, it's completely different to bring up budget. Budget is not something you should bring up to a review. You should just talk about the game you have and just review it for its own merits. But let's hear what DSP said. And also, do a number score. I know a lot of reviewers on YouTube, I've noticed, kind of dropped the score, and I think that's dumb. You know, scores are helpful. It's just you need to, but save it to the end. You don't want to give your score at the beginning, and then, you know, have people just stop watching the review from there. You should just give the review at the end, obviously. Obviously.
This is actually a loaded question.
Oh.
All right, and the reason
This isn't a loaded question. This is not a loaded question. It's so easy. I just answered it.
I say it's a loaded question is because there are many different review styles. There are many different outlets that review games.
That is kind of true. There is different review styles, but if you want to be a serious reviewer, obviously you're going to be serious, but if you want to be like zero punctuation, if you want to be comedic with your review, then you have to kind of understand what parts to play off as a joke and what parts to not, because that's one thing. You don't want to make a point in your review and make that sound like a joke. But yeah.
You could talk about mainstream gaming media like IGN and GameSpot. You could talk about more independent, like just a YouTuber who reviews a game off the cuff. You could talk about maybe a YouTube channel, right, that has a team of people that...
Also, I've been doing some reviews on my main channel. It's never a good idea to just go off the cuff, because you'll ramble. That's the thing I think DSP suffers from. He doesn't outline his reviews. Like, I am still working on my RWBY Volume 3 review. I just have to get art footage that I'm going to do. I have to draw the art for me. But when I took time to record myself talking about it, I had to write down what I was talking about. I had to write down the what I liked, what I didn't like, and I have been like whittling away at that script each time until I decided I'll just record it. And since I had that list in my mind, I was able to know instantly what I wanted to talk about and what I didn't. If you don't rate your reviews, if you don't organize it, it's going to be a mess. So I tried to divide my reviews as far as shows are concerned, be it animation, let's say. I have a category for animation. I talk about the animation for a while. I talk about the characters, the story, the voice acting, and all that kind of stuff. And then I, do a closing statement, and then I give it a number. That's how I do it. For games, it's kind of the same. I just look at story, characters, that kind of stuff. You don't really need... Doing off the cuff just rambles, and you're gonna make your video longer than it needs to be, and that is never a good thing. Your video should be as long as it needs. I don't think it should be short, but if you make a 30-minute video, 30-minute review, and I watch that, and it's off the cuff, and you start to ramble, if I feel like I'm watching this video for 15 minutes too long, maybe even 5, then that review sucks. You need to completely convey what you're saying without the video getting any longer. So there you go.
Do stuff, and everyone has their own different philosophies on how to do game reviews. Some people want a numbered scale, some people give it a certain amount of stars, some people say it's either a skip, rent, or buy. Everyone is completely different, okay? For me, when I do my game reviews, I have to factor in many different things. First of all, there's objectivity. Objective facts that cannot be disputed. How long is the game? Does it have game-breaking bugs in it, or is it well polished? What is the quality of the graphics and the voice acting? What is the frame rate? How does it perform? Is the gameplay fair and balanced, or does it seem like it's unfair and unbalanced? Is it a tedious game where as you play it, it's just the repetitive stuff over and over, or does it mix it up? What is the quality and originalness of the story? All those kind of things factor into the objective side of a review. But then there's a completely other side of a review that's subjective, meaning from my personal take, maybe I like first-person shooters, so if I'm playing a first-person shooter, obviously I'm gonna...
Of course, there's objectivity and subjectivity in a review, but the review should be mostly subjective. The objective stuff could just be graphical issues, glitches, bugs, that kind of stuff like that. The stuff that he listed. But subjective, I mean, the length of the game is both ways. It goes both ways because Ground Zeroes, for example, is objectively a short game. But subjectively, I could say that I played this game a lot, and to me, it had a very long length, longevity. Ugh. But I did play Ground Zeroes a lot. I still play that game because I love the missions in that game. I love going through Camp Omega and all that kind of stuff. But it's objectively a short game. But I could say subjectively, it feels very long to me because I take my time and I enjoy the game and I still play it. I replay it a lot. It has a very good replay value. But again, let's see how that works. In my opinion, I think length is both objective and subjective. But there you go.
Like it more than someone who absolutely detests first-person shooters, right? So all those things need to be factored into a review and into your scoring. All right, now, I'm going to be honest here. When I do my reviews, I take the game and I compare it to all other games that are out at the time. So if I look into the past 6 months, if there were 4 other games that all had 30 hours of content, and I'm reviewing a game that has 4 hours of content for the same price, chances are that game is going to be reviewed more low or...
That's a terrible... Here's the thing with game development. It's like when people make movies, anything. When you make something, it takes forever. It's a long process. All these games that came out in 2015 had years of development. You don't know when the development started. I mean, there was an idea you could have of when the game development has started. But games got delayed. Batman Arkham Knight is one of them that got delayed. That was supposed to come out in 2014, but it came out in 2015. But it's kind of unfair to review these kind of games. Like if you get an indie game, for example, and those games are usually short, are you gonna put that on in the same scale as a AAA game? Probably not. Life is Strange. That game was $60. No, it wasn't. Caught myself. I caught myself before I said anything wrong, but it's terrible to compare other games to other games. You can't do that. Like, it's like me comparing Street Fighter V to Metal Gear Solid 5 just on the base that, oh man, look at the content. But no, I can't make a comparison because Street Fighter V is a fighting game. The only thing I kept telling people about Street Fighter V was that it's a fighting game. You bought it for the fighting. You didn't buy it for the story. But there you go. It is what it is.
Lower than it would have if all the games for the past 3 years were 4-hour-long games. Because the bottom line is not only are you directly reviewing a game for what it has, but
if we're going to review a game, if every game was 4 hours long, and you review it for that, you're going to be okay with it being 4 hours long? I don't know. This is
how it performs with other stuff out there. When you review a game, you want people to say, okay, if there is a score attached to this game, you can rate that score against other scores of other games and know which game's better or worse. And I think this is what a lot of reviewing outlets fail to do. Instead of looking at the big picture, they just look at that hyper-focused at the one game, and they say, okay, when I was sitting here playing the one game, what did I think? And that's it. So then you end up looking at review scores, and you got a game where the review said, oh, there were 5 giant flaws, but overall it was still an enjoyable game. 8 out of 10. But then you'll get another review that'll say, well, the game didn't do anything groundbreaking. It was still pretty good, but it had one big flaw that pissed me off. 5 out of 10. Now, how does...
Because they have different opinions. Reviews aren't a factory checklist. There's no right or wrong way to review a game. You could say that you might not like certain reviews. Like, I don't like Zero Punctuation. It's not that he's a terrible reviewer, but it's just I'm done with the whole I must hate this game for comedy. I kind of got over his humor. I mean, I still watch him time to time when he reviews a game that I'm interested in, but it's just he does nothing but focus on the negatives, which is fine. That's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with Zero Punctuation. It's just I got tired of it. Is all. But yeah, everyone has different opinions, and of course they're gonna focus on one game because they're reviewing that one game. They're not gonna start comparing it to other games. This isn't a comparison thing. Reviews aren't comparisons. They're just, me giving you my overall impression of a game. If I were to review, I would review Metal Gear Solid 5 a 9 out of 10. Now, are you guys gonna say, yeah, I agree, that's definitely a 9 out of 10, I'm not gonna dispute it, that's factual. No, because there's a lot of people who would rate it lower for understandable reasons. People may not like the mission structure. People might not like the tediousness of Chapter 2 that much. That alone, that chapter might sway people off the game. All that shit. Just because I give it a 9 doesn't mean that that's the end-all, be-all review. But okay, Phil.
Those reviews even scale up. They don't. And the problem is with a lot of mainstream media who review games these days, the editor isn't doing their job. The editor is not looking collectively at these reviews and saying, okay, big picture, this game was a 5, this game...
Does he know what an editor does? An editor goes through people's work and fixes any grammatical errors, syntax errors, stuff like that. I mean, they just go through that. They might say like, oh, well, this part doesn't really work, and either send notes back to the person who wrote it, or just delete that part, whatever. The editor doesn't look at other stuff. No.
Was an 8, this game was a 6. Well, actually, when I'm reading the content of the reviews, that doesn't make sense. This review is a far more positive review. It should be a higher number than this review that's middle of the road, which should be a middle number, and this review says the game is terrible. That should be a lower number.
That is terrible. That alone is giving me a headache just thinking about it, because that would mean every time I reviewed a game, I would have to look back at all my reviews ever and say, well, if I gave Ruby Volume 2 a 8 out of 10, I don't remember what number I gave it, but let's say it's 8 out of 10. So if I'm going to review Volume 3, I have to look at that. Okay, that improves it, so I have to give Volume 3 a 9 out of 10, because it improves everything I hated about Volume 2, right? I mean, it's dumb. You can't do that. And he doesn't even do it for his own reviews. Like, there was one review he did, I don't remember what game, but he gave either I think it might have been Fallout. He gave one game like a higher score, but didn't scale it with the other game that came before it or something. It was some weird shit like that, but whatever.
That's the problem. So when you're scoring games, you have to, at least in my opinion, from my philosophy, you have to score them against each other and see big picture, or else you'll end up with review numbers that are just up, down, up, down, up, down, and don't mean anything. If I
don't mean anything when you read the review. This is also the other thing. Like, a lot of reviewers, I think Adam Sessler might have been one of these people that said that a lot of people just look at the score and don't bother to read the review. And Phil is probably one of those people. Because if you read the review, the number score would make sense. And it would have value because you read the review. You read someone's experience that connected the review together. You can't just look at the numbers and say, how can this score be higher than this? Because at that point, no game should be better than Ocarina of Time, which makes no fucking sense. Look up the Mega 64 skit called I think it's like Mega 60. Hold on, I'm gonna do some homework. Bear with me. It's a good skit. I definitely recommend it. I think it's like Mega 64 journalism. Mega 64. Okay. Mega 64 Modern Game Journalism the movie. Watch that skit. It makes perfect sense why people should just read the review and not compare scores. Perfect example. Perfect video to illustrate that.
I review Street Fighter V and I review Overwatch. Yes, they're two completely different styles of games, but if I did my job well as an honorable and a respectable reviewer, you should be able to tell that from my experience which game was better than the other. It's that simple.
That doesn't make any sense. If I want to see Street Fighter V for, oh, is it a good fighting game? Why would I give a fuck? How does it compare with Overwatch? That doesn't make any sense. At all. If I talk about Ruby Volume 3, are you gonna stay tuned to that review and have me talk about how No More Heroes is better? Sorry, I had to think of an example. I don't know why it took me so long, but No More Heroes. Like, oh yeah, Ruby Volume 3, it's good, but No More Heroes is better. Like, it's like, I'm here to see if the show's worth watching. Why are you talking about a video game?
Hear that they're two completely different styles of games. You should be able to tell if that's a competent reviewer. And the problem is, a lot of the people reviewing games aren't competent. They're...
Sorry, I want to put that in the comments. I'm sorry if I'm like taking the time to do this, but I don't want to lose the comment. I want to see if SF5 is a good fighting game. Wow, now I know Overwatch. Wait, Overwatch. Oh my god, is the best fighting game. You can't bring up two games in two different genres, you idiot. People want to know if SF5 is a good fighting game. Why the fuck would they even care if Overwatch is better? Overwatch isn't a fighting game. It would make more sense to compare SF5 to a fighting game. There you go, okay, there. I'm a little tipsy, but then again, Stella's are pretty good beers, so...
Journalists. They're people who went to school for journalism, so they know how to type a nice article.
They went to school. That's why he's angry. These people went to school, and they're journalists. Technically, believe it or not, most reviewers are journalists, because that's what all reviewers are. They have been journalists since the beginning of since we started reviews. They've always been journalists.
Well, but they don't know actually how to weigh and balance things and factor them into a proper review. So that is the thing. So when you're asking me, Advice on scoring games. It's everything. It's objective factors, it's subjective factors, it's your own personal take and experience, and also weighing and balancing it against everything else. One final point. If you are going to review a game and you know for a fact that you are a fan or even a fanboy of a certain genre, and you know it's overinflating your interpretation of that game, you should state it. In my Duke Nukem Forever review years ago, I outright stated that I loved the game because I was a hardcore fan of Duke Nukem.
Wow, so if you're a fan of something, state your fanboyism. Now, no, yeah, I've said multiple times, I'm a Skullgirls fanboy. I've stated that, but I can tell you, there is issues with that game. The matchmaking can be kind of off sometimes. You might have to wait a long time, but you can actually find matches in that game. Some of the characters I think are a little OP, like Peacock. I really do feel that Peacock is OP. People keep telling me, oh, well, the zoning of Peacock is great. No. Peacock has other combos. You're supposed to combo that shit, not just use one move over and over. And I feel that it's a little unfair. Like when you're falling, if someone like knocks you out of the air and you're falling from damage, they can juggle you easily in a non-stop combo, and you can't break out of it unless you're that there's a meter that builds up and you can break out of it. But that takes a lot of time to build up, and you'll lose a lot of health. And that's not fun. That's not fun to sit through. That's the only thing I don't like about Skullgirls, is that people can exploit the falling animation juggle stuff. That shit is a little OP, and if they do a sequel, I feel that is the first thing that's gonna go. But other than that, I do think that Skullgirls is fairly balanced, except that some characters have more moves than others. Like, some might have more supers than others, which I don't know why. I don't know what the balance was with that, but yeah, if I were to review Skullgirls, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10, because despite all that stuff, it's a very entertaining fighting game. It's very accessible. Anyone can play Skullgirls and have a good time. The online might be hit or miss. Like, you might get a string of people who play that game like day and night, but other than that, you can have a good time. I mean, I'm not great at Skullgirls, but I still play online, get my ass handed to me, but I have a good time. I enjoy it, but there you go.
But it didn't prevent me from giving it kind of a mediocre score. I think I reviewed it like a 6 or something like that out of 10.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can say that you're a fan of something as long as it doesn't sway the score. Like it's not like, oh, I'm a fan of Skullgirls, 10 out of 10, perfect game. Like, I might say it's a perfect game, but I might be embellishing a little. I might just be saying it jokingly, because obviously there's no such thing, in my opinion, as a perfect game. It's just it's a very good fighting game. It's one of my favorite fighting games that I've played ever, in my opinion. I like it way more than Street Fighter. Way more than any other fighting game, Mortal Kombat. Skullgirls is like the bread and butter. I live, breathe that game.
And on the flip side of that, there's some games that I know I don't like the genres of, but I can respect. I remember when I reviewed Dark Souls 1, I hadn't even beaten the game, but I said, listen, this isn't my cup of tea, it's not my forte, but
I'm surprised he didn't bring up this probably, oh man. He also said you can't review a game without beating it, and he just said he reviewed Dark Souls 1 without beating it.
I can understand with the insane amount of content, the wide enemy variety and weapons and customability, that if you like this grueling style of game, it may be an 8 or 9 out of 10, but for me, I don't like it. So you have to kind of be like that. You have to kind of see from your own perspective, but in someone else's shoes as well. What if you weren't the hugest fan of fighting games? You're probably not going to kiss a fighting game's ass and give it a high score. So be sure to state that kind of pre-existing bias in a review so people know your perspective and where you're coming from before you review a game. That was a lot of advice, wasn't it? All right, next question from another patron. This one is from Energetic Snail. And he says, hey, Phil, I got a quick question regarding the most recent... I have a quick question regarding the almost ancient release day unboxings that you used to do for new games. I remember that these videos were one of my favorite things to watch on your channel, not mainly for the unboxing, but instead for your great opinions and insight that you would give on the game.
Didn't he, never open the games in his unboxing videos. And I know for a fact, Final Fantasy XIII's unboxing had the fire alarm in the background. Very fun content, entertaining.
Before you actually played it later in the day. If I remember, a long time ago when you said you're going to cancel the release day unboxings for good, you also said you would end up replacing them with another similar series. I can't recall the title of. What happened to the successor series to release day unboxings? Thanks for reading my question.
Oh my god. What is it with Phil not pronouncing successor properly? What the fuck? I've never heard anyone pronounce successor as successor. Like, does it say success when he says success? Like, successor is... Oh my god, successor, wow. Like, is that how you pronounce it, successor? If it's successor, say 1. Put 1 in your comment. If it's successor, put 2.
Alright. For those who aren't longtime viewers of mine, a tiny bit of background is needed. I started out on YouTube in 2008. In 2008, when there were new games, you could buy a game, right? And you would open it. In fact, here you go. I'll give you a perfect example.
Are you fucking kidding me? He's really going to explain unboxing videos? No, I'm skipping this question. That alone is fucking stupid. I'm not sitting through the history of unboxing videos. What would you change? Okay.
60. So our first
No!
question is from...
God damn it! What would I change? Yeah.
The next question from Brightside.
I'm sorry if you wanted me to sit through all these questions. I'm gonna skip some. Probably the WWE questions. I know there's one somewhere in these parts, but yeah, that was terrible. You don't just go into the history of unbox. Like, no, Phil. That's fucking garbage. That wasted my time. I knew that was gonna waste my time as soon as he got up out of his seat. No.
Viking, again a patron. He says, if there was one thing about your channel or yourself that you could change, what would it be? If it were my channel, first of all, I have many channels, so it's hard to even say. I would probably say the one thing about my channel that I could change is to get it back in the YouTube search rankings properly. Now, the good news is DSP Gaming, which was negatively affected by those false copyright strikes last year, has started to show in the rankings again. In fact, you'll see with certain video series that I do, like, for example, when I played the Resident Evil 7 teaser, when I played the Doom multiplayer beta.
But, like, he puts such, like, clickbaity tags. He goes out of his way to make sure that his videos are whored out. And, of course, Resident Evil 7 is gonna be, like, the hottest thing that he does for his channel, because that was a hot thing. Because it was a Resident Evil game no one, like, expected to get, but whatever.
Before the actual game had released, a lot of those videos are showing up in YouTube search and getting a lot of views just based off of people seeing them in search. So that's a good thing, but I wish I could go back to where I was.
But, you know, he doesn't think it's weird that, he's getting all those views on those videos, but they're not trickling to other videos. So these views aren't long-time viewers or new viewers. These people just watched that because it was a hot new item, and then left. These aren't the views you kind of want. I mean, you could argue that these are the kind of views you would want, like, in the fall, like when the actual more games come out, which is kind of true. You know, that those views could stick with you for that, but not like, you know, in this part of time, unless you put out interesting stuff, which Phil doesn't. Like Resident Evil 5, honestly, is the only thing that's somewhat interesting that he puts out. The only thing, but let's continue.
Where every time I did a big AAA playthrough, I would show up on the first 2 pages of YouTube search, and immediately I'd get...
Oh, and what would I change, let's say, what would I change for Phil's channels? I would say get rid of KO Gaming, and, lengthen his, Let's Play videos. Make it, like, an hour long or so parts instead of 30 minutes. And I would change his commentary style, because a lot of his commentary style isn't entertaining. Now, what would I change about my channel if I could? Honestly, nothing. I'm really happy with my channel. The only thing I would change is my earlier videos. If you go to my main channel, go all the way like to my old ass videos, like way, 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 way back. There's a lot of shit there that makes me cringe every time I have a random. I might want to do an endure of my own videos. To be honest, I might want to do that, but yeah.
An influx of tens of thousands of extra viewers to check out my stuff, because that's how I was getting natural growth. I was getting this exponential.
I mean, I feel like I wish I had OBS earlier. That's the other thing, because I would have done better videos, or if I could record, yeah, OBS. Let's just say, I wish I had that earlier. I think if I started doing these interesting videos on my main channel, that I think are interesting, I feel like I might have gotten more popular. I mean that's an if, but that's how I feel, because when I started to shift my channel to do like kind of these art videos, I feel like that around this time there's so many other people doing a better job of that, but I do videos the way that I want to do them, and I'm happy with my channel regardless. Overall I'm happy with it. I don't care that I have like 60, 70 subs or whatever. I'm happy with my channel, honestly. I'm actually more surprised I made it that far in subs.
Natural growth from people just seeing me in YouTube search, and now maybe 1 in every 10 games that I play even shows up in YouTube search in like the first 20 pages. It's ridiculous. It takes so long to get to my stuff that most people don't see it unless they already know who I am and they're actively searching for it. In fact, it makes no sense because almost no one on YouTube names their video series playthrough. Everyone calls it walkthrough or gameplay or let's play. But if you search any game playthrough, I still don't show up. Does that make any sense? No, I'm the only person on YouTube that still calls everything playthrough.
Because they put playthrough in the tags. They don't put it in the title. Yeah, titles are also help finding videos, but the tags also matter, and he's not finding a more unique title, like. But whatever. I don't know. He's just dumb. He's just dumb.
Well, I don't show up when you search for that on YouTube. So that would be the thing I would change about DSP Gaming, in my opinion. The thing that I would like to change about me is my responses to negativity or hardship to not always go so crazy.
Oh, it was the other part of the question. Well, if I were to change myself, because whatever. If I were to change myself, how I react, I would feel that I would change. I don't know, because I don't have a bad relationship with people who watch my videos. I mean, I feel that I get snarky at times. Like if you go on my Twitter, and sometimes I could get a little like in people's business. Like if someone like gets something like a minor thing wrong, I might go in and say, well, no, it's actually this. And I still kind of do that. I try to not do that anymore as much. And I haven't done it as much anymore, but there might be times where I might jump down people's throats. Like, the most recent instance was when Loophole, shout out Loophole, hello Loophole, I, tweeted at him about his opinion on Zelda, and by the end of that, when I was like saying, oh, well, Zelda's blah, 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 I was like, man, I kind of felt bad for just how much I kept, tweeting at him. I felt like I should have just said, yeah, well, I disagree. I liked what they showed at E3, and that's it. I wish I could just say that. Because sometimes I do get very passionate or heated up, in discussions. I get very like active because I do enjoy having conversations, but sometimes I get a little I jump steps here and there. I might get a little carried away, and that might not be intentional. And that's not, I don't think less of anyone when I get to that point, but I just feel like I get a little heated up too easily. That's the only thing that I do wish I could change, which I am kind of changing as I go on. This is kind of personal moment for Theo, right?
Easy,
Okay.
angry off the cuff. What I've learned over the years is that if I have a more calculated response, if I have a less drama-filled, stress-filled response to...
He still does this. He still does it. Like, at least for me, with all this shit I just said, I could actually say with no doubt in my mind that I am at least trying to better myself. I'm always trying to better myself, regardless. I'm always trying. My videos ended up going on Freedom Chat. So lots of people chatting. This is an example. And some people were saying, "Oh, I'm White Tevin," or this and that. Some person, I think it was whatever. Someone said like that I talk too fast or I mumble, and that's a fair point. I do get like that from time to time. Hopefully, in this video, I'm consciously trying to slow down. I'm trying to slow down and not mumble, and I'm trying to enunciate better. So, I do respect all your critiques, just as long as you're not saying, "Oh, Theo's a fucking autistic asshole. Fuck this guy," and then if you string an insult to it, then I'd probably get pissed and not listen. But all these people I got comments on my videos like this, as well. And at first, I might take it insulting, but I reread it multiple times to understand the tone. Because sometimes, some people might say that about myself. So, yeah, I do try actively to better myself. This guy hasn't changed. He always says I'm not going to have drama in my life. I'm not going to get angry. He started shitting on people's Twitters in his Lego Star Wars rant. He shouted at people on Twitter all the time. Like, this is a fucking lie right here. I can at least tell you that I don't lie when I say that I try to better myself, or I listen to feedback and I'm trying to change or fix some errors. I'm honest with that shit because I do try. I do try. That's why I tried to mess with the audio levels here. That's why when a video has bad audio, I delete it because I know that's not unwatchable. But there you go. I try, he doesn't. There you go.
Negative stuff that happens, that I could be more effective. All right. So, for example, someone says something really nasty on Twitter. Someone spams my video with dislikes, or, I'm playing a game online and someone turns on their mic.
He called people morons for disliking his game, his videos. He called them morons.
Randomly and says, "Fuck you, you little faggot man-child piece of shit," whatever they're going to say to me. Instead of getting so angry, which I tend to do, to be able to just be like, relax for a second. Think of something calculated to say and say something either.
Calculate. He stops and no. Anyone can go find any video. Just look into the Uncharted 4 online, Overwatch. He instantly tries to mute them as fast as he can. Now, granted, he is not as bad as he was in MKX, when the guy asked him a simple question, and he decided to promote cyberbullying. That's like the only time. Yeah, okay, great, Phil. You don't cyberbully anyone anymore, but you don't relax and think of a calculated response. You instantly try to mute them, and you start to whine about it. So instead of being calm about it, you start to whine. You become more of a baby.
Intelligent or witty. because I tend 9 times out of 10 to not do that and go off the cuff and get more angry than anything else, which then leads to things that I regret. And I admit that, and I know that over the years. I mean, how many times have you seen me say stupid shit that I really shouldn't have said? I remember there's some people I've told to die in a fire in YouTube comments like 5 years ago, and now I look at that shit and I'm like, why the fuck was I like that? 5 years ago, I was making probably twice as much money as I'm making now. I had ridiculous amounts of viewership. I basically could do no wrong. Why was I so angry? You know what? Now I have way more things to be angry about today, but today I'm a lot more relaxed. You know what it is? It's experience.
Dragon Killer, shout out to him. He put on a Twitter that he laughed after he said that about people dying in a fire. That's kind of shitty, and that's kind of sociopathic, to be honest. That he would laugh something like that, and yeah, that's something like the fact that he can read that and be like, "Why was he so angry?" I don't know, like. That's not a rational response. If I made that comment, let's say that, like, years ago I said that people die in a fire, and I went back to look at that comment, I would probably think I'm fucked up. I would probably say to them, like, wow, I told people to die in a fire for this. Wow, I'm really fucked up. It's not, it's just, I said it when I was angry. Like, no. There are times where you do say things that you regret when you're angry. Truthfully, you do say shit that's, but you're not gonna react to it later like, well, I was angry. Like, you're gonna be like, wow, that's really fucked up. But whatever.
It's wisdom, it comes with age, and it comes with experience, being through all this.
He has gotten dumber in age, but let's...
Big spike of popularity that I had from, say, 2010 to 2012, I didn't know how to handle it because I never had it before. It was out of nowhere. It was...
Okay, look. I'm not the most popular guy. I might joke, by the way, warning, I might joke saying that I am detractor famous because I was on Freedom Chat, but I'm not gonna fucking say that, oh, I'm Mr. Popularity over here. I'm not a popular person. But if I get, like, a bunch of people commenting on my, on my shit, I would honestly just be like, oh, okay, cool, people, are commenting, okay, cool. And if someone says, like, oh, you're an idiot, I've gotten negative comments on my main channel before. I didn't care. I was like, half the time I would just kind of, like, copy paste their comment, go to their video, and just paste the same comment. Like, I might just do that, or just ask why. Like, if someone says, you're an idiot, I would say, why? Why am I an idiot? And see what happens. Like, half the time, it's just, I try not to insult people anymore. Like, I sometimes do, but most of the time, if I see a dumb comment that's not even well posted on my videos, I'll just fucking try to have a conversation with them. I'll be like, why? Why do you say this? Where in my video do you want me to change? Like it's just, if it's something that I know it's a BS comment, I'll give it a BS response. But I won't just go straight to insulting them. You never go to that level, because if you go to that level, you're just proving their point, in my opinion. But whatever.
Kind of a weird thing. And then finally, when it leveled out to a plateau, and then I said, all right, now I can be more of a mature human and start to be more realistic and stuff. And still happens to this day. Admittedly, I go off the cuff and I react badly to things, but I'd like to at least think that I do a little bit better. And if anything I could change is to completely negate that anger, that fire, that irk in the back of my neck, in the back of my, goes up my back, my spine, and I get so angry. Why can't I wish I could get rid of that, but okay, there you have it.
Yeah, you can. Look. Tell you a little bit more about myself. I did have an anger problem when I was a kid, and that lasted a long time. But I eventually decided, hey, I should calm down because like, so again, when I get into conversations with people, and if I say like, oh, I like Metal Gear Solid 5, and then someone says I don't like it, if I keep trying to have a conversation why I like it, all that kind of stuff, I might get a little heated, but I try to pull myself back. I try. You can do it. Because the thing is that you just need to know, excuse me, how to handle yourself. Like, if you know you're like that, you know what triggers it, you can handle it better. Like, half the time when I see comments on my videos that are negative, I know that they're trying to get a rise out of me. And that's half the time. That's half the time. That's what a lot of people do to Phil. Is they try to get a rise out of him. Like, when I played him in Street Fighter V, I was ready to taunt his ass, but I didn't because I didn't want to. I want to be sure I could win the match. If I couldn't win the match, I'm not gonna taunt him. That's terrible because then he's gonna be like, oh, he taunted, and have something over me. I'm not gonna taunt unless I know I can win. That's the one thing I will give Cerulean. I can't remember the rest. He taunted at the right time. So,
all right, last question from our patrons, and then we're actually going to move on to forum questions. So this one's actually from Sammy Samosa, who had a two-parter. His first part was, during the Monday Night Wars, which were you, a WCW guy or a WWF guy, and why? That's a great question, and you're not gonna believe the answer, or you might not expect the answer. Let's put it that way. Neither, because guess what? Second question, Sammy. He says, with the presidential election coming up, why do you?
This one's a good one. Sammy. Look, I'm disappointed in you, Sammy, and I'll tell you why I'm disappointed. You followed up your waifu question with this. Look, honestly, if you look at my last endure of Ask the King, I enjoyed Sammy's question so much. DSP, what is your waifu? Like, it just made me laugh that someone asked this guy that question. And then he follows up with this fucking question. Okay. Thank you, Sammy.
I think there's never been a female president in the U.S. before. I think if Hillary Clinton doesn't become elected, we'll never get a female president because nobody else has the charm and beauty that Hillary has. Do you think Hillary is the last hope for a female presidency? All right.
The charm and beauty of Hillary Clinton, DSP. Here's my opinion. Hillary is a fucking criminal. I do feel I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. I was all for the Bern. Not that he was. Look, Bernie by no means is the perfect president. He's not like a godsend to humanity or anything. I don't think that all. I do agree. I do think a lot of his stuff is a little too extreme. Like, it's a little too far into socialism. Even though I don't think socialism is necessarily wrong, but I don't think that, we can just go straight into that from where we are now. I think if we just, just test things out, it would be different. But, I'm no government official here. I ain't no politician, but I just honestly picked Bernie because out of criminal Hillary, hothead Trump, and Bernie sounded the most rational out of the three. Be it that, a lot of his stuff is a little extreme, I would much rather have, like, extreme socialism than extreme criminal in president that, would probably start a war, than Trump, who is also going to probably start a war. It's honestly a terrible year for presidencies, and I saw this one guy, Gary Johnson. I heard he's a pretty good candidate, but I don't think he's going to make it because he's not a Republican or a Democrat, which is shitty, because I think we should actually look into other political parties than just the main two. But anyways, Hillary is not the end-all be-all for female presidents. I feel that there are better candidates out there than Hillary. I had a discussion with a friend of mine that said that when I said, oh, there's better candidates for a female president than Hillary, and then this person told me that that's how the system works. And I just said, well, if Trump can run, anyone can run. It's just, they need to find a way to run. There's a will, there's a way, but, yeah, Hillary is not my pick. I really am. I don't know if I'm gonna vote, to be honest, because this year seems to be shit. to be honest, for presidents. I would much rather have 4 more years of Obama at this point. Give me Obama. But, I don't think anything's gonna happen, whatever. Like, yeah. Hillary as president, I don't think would be super bad, but I just feel it would run the same risk of having Nixon again. Like think about it. Nixon, when the whole Watergate scandal happened, he had to leave presidency. He had to leave. Like there was no other thing he could have done, so he had to leave. And everyone hated Nixon for Watergate. We have a president nominee who committed a crime that got exonerated. That the FBI just said, we're not going to investigate any further with this email situation. And we're going to vote for that for president while we had some guy leave presidency for another scandal. Okay. Yeah, great.
First off, no. Female presidency, she's not the last hope for a female presidency. I don't even see the fucking big deal because everyone always screams equality, right? Equality between male and female. Equality.
Oh, man, he should have just said, no, it's not the end-all be-all for women president. Now he just opened a can of worms that he didn't have to open because, let's see. The whole thing about equality, like, the reason why people get worked up about a female president is because we never had a female president. I don't think that makes Hillary a great... That's why I say people, like, if you're gonna vote for Hillary just because she's a woman, that's not equality, that's not, that's not even a reason. Because it's just petty. It's like, that's the thing I also said about Trump. Trump, I can see being a good, revolt candidate that, because a lot of people are upset with the government. And that happened in, Iceland or some, right? I don't remember where. Greenland, maybe? I can't say for sure. They had these issues with this mayor or whatever. A comedian in that area decided to run for mayor, and he won by a landslide because everyone hated their government at that point. So they nominated that guy because he was just a revolt candidate. And that's the only thing I could say about Trump is that he's here because America has done this to themselves in a way that we're upset with how government's being handled. We're upset with taxes. We're upset with all this stuff, and with all that, and Trump is the answer to that. Like Trump is the thing that came out of it, and that's not a great thing or a bad thing, but it just kind of happened, and we're stuck with it now. So yeah.
Between all races. So then why does it matter who's in the White House if we're all equal, right? That means that this guy should be able to do just as good of a job as this female. Now, do I feel that there has been a bias against women to keep them out of the White House, or that there's always been kind of a predisposed natural feeling of that we must have a powerful male leader? Yes, I do feel that. But that...
Honestly, kind of sad, but I kind of a sliver agree because, there was a video where Obama... shed a tear. He cried about shootings. Like I don't know which shooting incident it was exactly, but Obama was talking about how we need gun control and all this kind of stuff, and he started crying talking about dead children, and I saw so many people saying, "What a pussy! He's such a little bitch, crying and all. Come on, we want a man as a president. We want power, and blah blah blah." And it's just like he's talking about dead children. Like is he supposed to be like, so kids died? Like no. And honestly, if you want a president that has no emotion, why? Like honestly, I would much rather have a president that has a shred of humanity in him than just a robot as president. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, I just feel that we should have a president that is more sympathetic than a president who's detached from humanity and all feelings. I don't see that as a good president. And Trump is why I am against him, because he is very hot-headed and he has no sympathy for anything. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. He wants to kill terrorists. He wants to kill families of terrorists. Now, I know this is a little tangent, but I just wanted to ask you this. If, let's say that you're a terrorist organization, okay? Let's say you are. And the government, the government that you're against kills your family. Do you have anything to lose? No. Everything you have that you might not have been willing to lose is already lost. So you're just left with, well, then I can just go and up the terrorist incidents and all that. That's all that's gonna happen with what Trump wants to do with killing families of terrorists. He did say that, it's on CNN, but hopefully he changes his mind on that. But if he still plans on doing that, that's not gonna solve any problems. That's gonna create more problems in the long term. Just saying.
Doesn't mean that just because a woman is in the White House, if Hillary Clinton gets elected, that she's going to do an amazingly better job than any other man. And I know for a fact that there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the United States who are literally backing Hillary Clinton, not on her ideals, not on the things that she stands for, the things that she says she wants to do if she gets the Oval Office, but just because she's a woman. And
that is honestly true. I know so many people that are just voting for her because she's a woman. Now, that's not to say that there are people who are voting for Hillary on her ideals and all that. But there are people who are voting for her just because she's a woman. Now, everything I said about this is honestly my own opinion. I don't... If you disagree, that's fine. I'm just saying is all. This is why Phil put in his Patreon that he doesn't want to talk about any hot topic issues like politics and sex. And yet he's talking about politics. And he did, I guess, kind of talk about sex with the waifu question, but yeah. Okay, Phil.
that's ignorant. That's incredibly unintelligent, mass mob, sheepish thought that should be written the fuck off. Now, if you like Hillary Clinton because of the things she stands for, because of all the stuff that she's done in the years, right? That she's done all these different political jobs and stuff. All right, then. That's different. You have every right.
Also, does everyone know that Hillary defended a child molester? Yeah. There was this person that molested a child or a teenager or whatever. This girl that got raped, and she defended the rapist and got him she got the sentence reduced to something. I don't remember what the sentence was reduced to. But now you might say that, well, that's irrelevant to now, because that was back in the 80s, 70s, or whatever, that she was practicing lawyer, and that she might have done it for a friend. All that, okay. That's a fine argument to bring up, that it's irrelevant, because, she might have just done it for a job, because, it is what it is. But, honestly, that makes me think of a movie recommendation. I'm going to recommend a movie. I watched it, it was great. It's called, Cape Fear. Great movie. It's about this guy, Robert De Niro plays this rapist that wants to get his revenge on the lawyer that defended him, because the lawyer that defended him had information he knew about the victim that he did not share, because he wanted to make sure that Robert De Niro's character gets the punishment that he felt that he deserved. Whatever. Great movie. Go check it out. It's on Netflix. Watch it. Great movie.
To stand behind Hillary Clinton, but the bottom line is there's a huge group of people who are mobbing behind her for completely the wrong reasons. Not to say, by the way, that the same thing's not happening with Donald Trump, because it is, but that's pretty sad that this election, it kind of seems to be reality celebrity TV potty mouth guy versus female leader. It's not, oh, this issue against this issue, or, this important thing that will improve our country against this important thing that'll.
Now, say what you will about how Phil kind of stumbled in this question. He did stumble into it. It was kind of a fumble. He kind of tripped all over the place here, but I'm surprised that he kind of brings up good points. I'm surprised, as much as you may also be surprised, but that's kind of how it is. I mean, but it is what it is.
Improve our country. It's two completely stupid fucking things that people are voting for or signing with. It doesn't make any sense. I don't care about Donald Trump being on reality TV, being a businessman. I want to know what he's going to do for the country. I don't care about Hillary Clinton being a woman and all this shit, an innovator. Just tell me what you're going to do.
But he can look that up, though. This is the thing. This is the main issue I had with this election that's going on. The debates were awful. Both Trump and Hillary kind of did the same thing with their debates. Trump focused on his penis, and it's like, oh, look at my numbers. They're so good, my numbers. Oh, pfft. And then Hillary kept avoiding questions, not answering anything, whatever. This is the issue with these debates, is that they didn't focus on the issues. That's why I was like kind of more interested in Bernie, because he actually focused on the issues. He talked about them. Same with Kasich. John Kasich, honestly, I feel that he should have gotten the nomination, because I think Kasich was a very reasonable guy. He didn't sound insane like Ted Cruz. He sounded very reasonable with what he wanted to accomplish. Because he just sounded like a candidate. Like, he sounded like a guy that people would vote for. Like, honestly, I would have been surprised if Democrats flocked to vote for Kasich than vote for Hillary. Because I think Kasich is a much better candidate than Hillary or Trump or Bernie. Even Bernie. Like, as much as I was for Bernie, I think Kasich was my backup choice. So I was very disheartened when I found out that he dropped out. He was such a good candidate, and he left. He had flaws, but compared to him and Trump, come on.
And sell me on it, and then you'll get my vote. But none of one's doing.
But he could research this, because as much as I shout on Trump and Hillary, you could kind of get more so on Hillary, you could kind of get an idea of what she's fighting for, or what her ideals are. Trump, you kind of get it, but he's very vague with everything he wants to do. That's the one thing I don't get why people aren't questioning him. Trump acts a lot like Phil in that regard. Phil is basically a combination of Hillary and Trump. Because every time during the debates, someone asks him like, "Oh, how do you get Mexico to pay for the wall?" They're gonna pay for it. We need this wall. We're gonna build it, and they're gonna pay for it. He wouldn't talk about how. Some people would say, "Oh, well, they would reduce on whatever service that the U.S. provides for Mexico." Yeah, but I don't feel that that's going to be enough to pay for the wall, because the wall, as far as according to John Oliver's show, take that as you will, costs more than how much Trump estimates. So there you go.
Doing that. It's all about the bullshit, and this is what the whole country is about these days: the drama, the bullshit, the gossip.
But yeah, the media of this election is also kind of shit as well. There's no one. None of the moderators of these debates ask them any questions about the issues. The first debate I remember watching, the first Republican debate that I watched, and I was telling my parents, this is the worst debate I've ever seen. In like all the years I've watched I watched debates. Debates are kind of fun to watch, but yeah, I watched that, and every question for Trump was, "Oh, why did you tweet this? Are you a racist, Trump?" Like, all these dumb questions. Like, ask him about the issues. Ask him what would he do for taxes. What would he do about gun control? What would he do about poverty? What would he do about the whatever issue? And they never asked him that. They kept asking, Trump, why are you sexist? Why do you hate this person? Like, who cares? And then, even within the debates, everyone kept bickering amongst each other. Every candidate was like, "Oh, Trump, you're an idiot. Okay, Trump, you're dumb." And then Trump was like, "Well, I'm the best." Like, it's just fucking nothing but nonsense, and it was awful. And it was the same thing kind of with the Democratic debates. They kept asking them, "Is Donald Trump a racist?" It's like, anyone can figure that answer out themselves. Just go to his Twitter, look at how he talks about things. You can find out for yourself. Why do I care if Bernie and Hillary think that he's racist? Why would I care about that? Or like, Bernie, Trump is gonna do this. What would you do? It's like,
We're gonna have an election fully based on fucking fluff, and then who knows what's gonna happen to our country for 4 fucking years.
According to pothead Ben Carson, I honestly believe he was stoned every time he went to the debates. That's my theory. According to him, well, if Trump wins, we'll just have to put up with him for 4 years, and it's just like that's a long time. 4 years. Trump could start World War III in 4 years.
Okay, then let's move on. That's the most I'm willing to say about politics. All right.
So
starting with forum questions. First question is from Master of Awesomeness, and he says, "Phil, with Rooster Teeth now merging with Screw Attack and the Creatures, do you think that Rooster Teeth is trying to create a monopoly on Let's Play videos?" No, I don't. Now, if you don't know, Rooster Teeth, huge on YouTube. They were primarily known for doing things like machinimas, edited style game series, and then they started doing gameplay videos and Let's Plays and game reviews, and they branched out and they do everything. They became incredibly popular on YouTube. They're huge. They have their own freaking conventions and shit that they do. It's wild. Now, Screw Attack has been around the block. This is a group of people, independent gamers, who've been making gameplay videos, and not gameplay, but gaming videos and comedy skits and stuff for over 10 years. They've been through the ringer when it comes to who they've been partnered with. At one point, they were on Game Trailers. Now, Game Trailers is out of business. They did their own thing on YouTube for a long time. Now it looks like they're teaming up with Rooster Teeth.
Oh, it's about Screw Attack.
The Creatures. I mean, their own independent group of gamers who are big YouTubers all in their own right. They came together to form a super group, and now they're going to fuse with Rooster Teeth. I don't think anyone's going for a monopoly on anything. I don't think it's possible to have a monopoly. Let's face it. Anyone can turn on a camera. Anyone can turn on a capture device and do a Let's Play. There's no way you can have a monopoly.
Yeah, this is news to me, so I can't really say, but I don't really care about this merger. I don't understand why Rooster Teeth wants to, because they're a pretty big company in their own way. So I don't know why they need to merge, but okay. I mean, I guess there's a lot of drama going around with Rooster Teeth, and it's just not the kind of drama I'm gonna get into in this video. I will put when I upload my Ruby Brawl Volume 3 review, I'm gonna put my thoughts on the whole Rooster Teeth thing with Ruby, and yeah, my thoughts on this particular thing, I don't care. Screw Attack, okay, whoop-de-doo. Yeah. I mean, like, didn't Screw Attack also partner with Cinemassacre? I think they did, and that's fine. I mean, you can't really have a I don't think there can be a monopoly, because people are gonna watch what they want to watch. I mean, if people are gonna watch Rooster Teeth, they're gonna keep watching them. So
on Let's Plays, not gonna happen. What I think they're doing is wise. They're pooling their resources, probably so that they can have more interesting events. So, for example, what's gonna have the bigger draw? The gaming convention where, okay, there's the Creatures and there's Screw Attack, and maybe there's some people from Rooster Teeth showing up, or the Rooster Teeth convention where you're guaranteed to have all of these personalities here because they're now under one umbrella. What about great crossover?
They already have a Rooster Teeth convention. It's called RTX. Does Phil know about that? Does Phil know about RTX? I mean, Mega 64 goes to RTX, so that's kind of how I knew about it, but Yeah.
episodes where you can have all the people from these different events showing up and doing a big crossover and stuff like that. They could pool their resources, right? They could do cross promotion. It actually makes sense business wise. And in this day and age where there's so much competition on YouTube for gaming videos, what they're doing makes sense from a business perspective, even though they may lose some of their individuality and even though they may lose some of their individual branding, right? Because ultimately, Screw Attack and Creatures are going to get absorbed under the Rooster Teeth umbrella because Rooster Teeth is the bigger entity of the three. But in the long run, it may actually.
Rooster Teeth is bigger than Screw Attack. I mean, Rooster Teeth is big, but I don't know if it's as big as Screw Attack. Just saying. Hold on, let me fix this. Here we go. Sorry, it's bothering me.
Allow them to exist and stay viable and stay financially afloat and do what they're doing lucratively and making sense. It's hard for someone like me. I've always been one man on an island. I have never had any kind of a team up or a crossover with anyone else on YouTube. I've never had an opportunity or an offer to do so. Even though I've worked with Machinima for how many years, I've never had anyone from Machinima come to me and say, would you like to do this collaborative event or do this or that? And the bottom line is I don't have clout. I never had clout where I could reach out to another YouTuber and say, would you like to do a co-op or would you like to do this? And bottom line is probably they would all just say no. Because who am I? You know what I mean? I exist within my own kind of bubble. And people know who I am, but you never hear about Phil in a big perspective. And so I've never had that opportunity to do a crossover or whatever. And, you know, I'm sure it probably would work out well, and it would be awesome to do that. But the reality is I'm a single guy, you know what I mean, who does stuff on YouTube here. And I don't have a lot of money, that's for sure. I don't have a lot of resources. I don't know a lot of people in the industry. I know zero people, exactly zero people in the industry besides a few YouTubers who I've had a few words with over the years, but I don't have any ongoing contact with any YouTubers. And it just, you know, it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. You know, if there were an opportunity where someone wanted to do something, I would always be open to it. In fact, the few times that I did have someone reach out to me, like if Larry Bundy reached out to me last year and said, would you like to do some voice work for an animated series that I want to get, you know, started? And I did a few lines of voice work for it, and the series ended up not going anywhere for various reasons. But anything that I would be offered, I would be willing to at least.
Didn't he also do work for Aggie? I don't remember. There was some like Grand Theft Auto Machinima that she was doing, and she asked Phil to do voice work, and then she pointed out that he was terrible to work with because he wasn't doing his lines or something like that. Some shit like that, and Phil shat on her a lot, which is surprising. That's unprofessional and not mature. You should never, like, if a collaboration breaks off, be it on your part or their part, whoever is at fault, doesn't matter. Don't say anything. Like, you could argue that her making that video, calling Phil out, and all that stuff is unprofessional as well. But, you know, there's a saying, two wrongs don't make a right. It's just, he could have easily just put out saying, I don't know. It was a weird situation, and yeah.
Consider, but it seems to me I've never been the Mr. Popular. I never will be. Let's face it. In my whole life, when I was in high school, when I was in the Street Fighter community, when I'm on YouTube, I'm never going to be Mr. Popular. And that's okay. I'll be myself. And I'm still successful as myself. I'm still able to do this after all the shit I've been through. I'm okay with that. Not to say that I wouldn't like these kind of opportunities and join a super group, but it ain't going to happen. I'm a realist, and I know it's not going to happen.
He's a realist, guys.
One more question, and then we'll end this part, and we'll take a quick break, and I'll do a part 2, obviously. Oh, this is a good one because I can actually pretty much answer this one.
Wow, Mr. Popular made his money back. He has $1,009, guys. Now, see, I'm telling you right now, this is gonna go back up. He's gonna make $1,250. He's gonna make it. He's gonna make it, guys. Everyone thought that, like, oh, it's only gonna go down with less than 900. It's gonna go up, but yeah, Mr. Popular over here.
In a nutshell. All right. From Bruticus Maximus. Some people, this has been a hot topic on their mind, and other people don't give two shits about this question, so here we go. I have a short question regarding Project 7. I've seen some YouTube comments asking if it would be okay to use Project 7 for other projects outside of your creation. That is, some people want to make a fan version of Project 7. Would it be okay for fans to use Project 7 or some variation of that name in their own video projects, or do you still plan to do something with the name? Well, first off, First off, I don't even understand what would people make out of Project 7. Project 7 started as a little mini video series that I did by myself in 2010 that was terribly edited. It was supposed to be just a joke. I worked on it for 3 days and then completely dropped the idea and never went back to it. Then I revived it in late 2011 when I found some filmmakers who wanted to do something with me and see if they could get their name out there and get some popularity off of it. And the series ended up being pretty much a success, but then those filmmakers didn't get out of it what they wanted and said they wanted out of the project. So that's exactly what happened. And after that, I never went back to it. Now, I had ideas of maybe reviving the series and doing different things with it over the years, but it never came to fruition. So I don't understand, what would you do with...
No. That's a fucking lie. Because if he had ideas or something, he wouldn't have pocketed all that money and then said, oh, I couldn't think of anything to do. Like, he canceled it because he had nothing to show. I'm sorry if I'm talking fast, but there's no way he told the truth with that. Everyone knows he pocketed $12.50 for a teaser. Which already, I can tell you, $12.50 for a teaser is an astronomical amount to pay for. I can give you guys a teaser for an upcoming project I'm doing for free. I can easily do that because I have stuff that's in the works. It's just I will. Nah, just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. Maybe I will. Look, I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna open my favorite drawing application. Okay, almost there, guys. Mischief. Name of the best drawing program ever. This is it. This is a teaser of what I'm working on. Now, you may not know what that is. But that is a woman talking on the phone. It's a storyboard. It's a work in progress. It's coming out very well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that that little teaser that I provided with you for free. But yeah, he stole that money. He didn't give their patrons anything, and he kept saying every time he was talking about it, I don't know what to do. I don't know. And it's like, you made the money and you keep saying, I don't know. Okay. Oh, oops.
Project 7. I mean, I want to do my own Project 7. Then do it, but don't call it Project 7 because it's not. It's your own show. So create your own show. It could be similar to the premise of what we did, right? It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but do it by all means. You just, no. I would say, you can't.
Wow. Does he not know how fan fictions work? That's like if Brian and Mike, from the guys who did the Legend of Korra series, told them, don't do Legend of Korra fanfics, okay? Don't call it the Legend of Korra. Don't do it. Call it something else, and that's it. But don't do that. That's fucking stupid. And he doesn't own a copyright to Project 7. Secondly, it shouldn't matter. Because if a fan made a series called Project, they're most likely going to say Project 7 fan made or something. They would make it obvious that it's fan made. And they would just do that. But if he released something called Project 7, it's still going to stand out because he's the original creator of it. Like, yeah, I don't patent a lot of my stuff, obviously. But if someone takes my name, the names and shit, okay, whatever, it is what it is. But, yeah, and there's already a Project 7 thing floating around. It's a fundraiser, so there you go.
Don't use the name because that's biting off of someone else's idea. Wouldn't you rather call it something different and do something creatively different than doing the same thing that we've done and just doing it your own way. Do something new. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be called that.
I mean, like, this is another thing that, like, a lot of people were upset when the Super Mario game got canceled, the Shadow Moses project thing got canceled, and it's like, I sat there, I was like, these are just lazy remakes of games that already exist. Of course, Nintendo and Konami are going to shut these down because, guess what? Nintendo and Konami want to make money. And they're going to shut those projects down. Now, you could say, well, this is just fan appreciation. They're not making a dime for it and all that kind of stuff. Either way, those companies are within their right to shut those down. The difference being is that those are copyrighted things. Like Mario is copyrighted, Metal Gear is copyrighted, whatever. Project 7 isn't. I mean, it might be copyrighted for that fundraiser, the charity thing, but...
And honestly, Project 7 wasn't even a good name. I don't even understand why people like that name, because I thought it was kind of cheesy.
Then why are you married to it? It's like, oh, I don't like the name, but I don't want you to use it. Like, really? Really, asshole?
So that's number one. To answer number one, no, I wouldn't be okay with someone just making a new video series called Project 7. Number two, I haven't seen these YouTube comments about people wanting to use it, so I don't know what you're reading. I don't think it necessarily is a couple people in YouTube comments. I think you might be talking about a particular group of people, and if it's who I think it is, no, I don't want them redoing Project 7, and they don't have permission to do so. Number three, right now, I have absolutely no intention.
That might have been like a slight nod to Sons of Kojima. And, you know, every time I watch the Sons of Kojima podcast, Fred Fucks, shout out Fred Fucks, he keeps talking about Project 7. He never shuts up about it. I want someone to shut... Fred Fucks, when are you gonna do Project 7?
Of doing anything with Project 7, alright? Why? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, because I don't have the means. I am not an independent filmmaker. I don't have professional camera equipment. I certainly don't have the editing know-how to put together anything good. And last year, I had this idea that maybe I would revive the series, and I killed that idea for the simple reason that I know that whatever I put out would not be good enough. YouTube of 2016 is very different from YouTube of 2009 and 2010. Back then, you could fucking take a shit on a fucking piece of paper and film it, and it would get 1 million views. Now, you actually have to put some effort and skill into stuff for it to actually get noticed. I know firsthand because KO Gaming, my new YouTube channel...
He has to put effort, and that's bad. Okay? Oh my god. Now you have to put effort in your videos to stand out. Ugh. Yeah, I know that pain, Phil. When I did my channel, I had to put effort, man.
When I started actually sitting down and I got better editing software and I fucking focused on getting better audio quality and editing stuff together nicely, now my edited videos are finally starting to get some attention. Great, because previously I was doing them and they weren't as good and they were getting like no attention. I was putting in all this time and effort.
Because you use clickbait. Every title, everything about it is clickbait, and it's disgusting. It's like the butt of everyone's joke. His videos, the Fallout 4 mod stuff, the Homefront video, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all that shit is all like clickbaity thumbnails and titles that everyone makes fun of on YouTube. So he's living up to his name as the butt of jokes.
Into something that wasn't worth it. It's the same thing here with something like Project 7 or any other edited series. The problem is I don't have the time, the money, or the resources to do a series like that by myself. If I had a group of people working with me, maybe it would have been possible. I don't. So right now, I have zero intentions of doing anything with Project 7, especially this year. In particular, when you take a look at how things have been going, my balance of live streaming and raw gameplay, balance with the edited stuff on KO Gaming is working splendidly. The business is doing well. I've got 4 consistent months of awesome performance. There's no reason why all of a sudden I should say, well, now it's time to take time off and start working on an edited series called Project 7 again. Half the people who watch me will be like, what are you doing? Well, I don't even know what that is. Why are you wasting your time with it? All right? The final thing
Oh, that was a weird noise. But what? Oh, no one knows what it is. Why would I bother? No one knows the stuff I work on, and I still work on it. Like, the series I'm working on is called Agent Strider. So that's what I'm working on right now. Do you guys know what that is? No, you don't. So, I guess with Phil's logic, I should just cancel it because you guys don't know what it is. Why would I finish it? So, if you want me to continue Agent Strider, please put in the comments, save Strider. I'm joking. I'm not gonna cancel it, but yeah, what kind of logic is that? Oh, if I take time out to work on something I would want to work on, people are gonna ask me what am I doing? Oh no, just shut up, Phil.
Is I'm not saying that Project 7 will never return. I'm saying right now I have no plans for it. But there's, all this information. Final Fantasy VII is coming back, ladies and gentlemen. They're redoing the game as an episodic current gen release and all that. Who's to say that once that game is released that I won't decide to do an episodic series based on me playing Final Fantasy VII and call it Project 7?
Are you fucking kidding me? He's gonna name a playthrough Project 7. Wow. Wow. Dude, that is gonna happen. It's not even a thought. I know. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet he's gonna do a Final Fantasy VII playthrough of the remake, whatever, and call it Project 7, or have some half-assed way of having Project 7 be there. Like he's gonna either name his streams, playthroughs Project 7, or he's going to have like a impressions video series shit called Project 7. Something like that. It's gonna be something lazy. And that's fucking pathetic. It went from like a series with a story to now him playing video games. That's how everything is. Like he promised a special with patrons last year for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and all it was him playing video games as the special. Great thing.
I don't know. There's a lot of opportunity for stuff in the future, all right? And I'm not going to say, oh, well, just go ahead and do whatever you want with the name Project 7, and the next thing you know, I want to do something with it, and I can't. I'd be an idiot. So, the bottom line is, I have no...
Why can't you do it? Just because they made a video series called Project 7 doesn't mean that they copyrighted immediately. Like, how can you not do it anymore? What kind of logic is that? That's like... No, wow.
Immediate plans for Project 7. It wouldn't make sense to do anything with Project 7 right now because everything's going well and people are liking what I'm doing. But that doesn't mean that in the future there won't be anything in regards to Project 7. And no, do not steal the name and try to make a show called Project 7. That would be very unwise, and I don't condone it. If you're going to do a...
Is that a threat, Phil? Did you just threaten someone to not use Project 7? Okay, guys, I'm gonna announce a special announcement. I didn't want to do this, but Phil really put me in this situation. He backed me into a corner, if you will. I'm gonna announce a Project 7 series. It's gonna be for this channel, for this specific channel. If you want to know what it's about, it's gonna be a very interesting series. It's gonna be about me playing video games. I don't even know what's gonna be that. I don't know what's it gonna be, but it's a Project 7 series, and it's gonna live up to what you would expect from Project 7 and everything. So, I hope you guys enjoy it. It's gonna come out. I'm gonna put some work into it, and when you see it, man, you're gonna probably demand. You're gonna rally people. Your people are gonna rally behind the notion I should open a Patreon where you can donate $12.50 of your hard-earned money to show me your support of Project 7. I'm gonna call it Project 7: The Rise of Fun. There you go.
show with the same premise, go for it. Call it anything else, and I don't care. You can do whatever you want. Okay? All right. That is it for part 1 of Ask the King. We've still got 3 pages of questions to go.
Oh, that's why it's in 3 parts. Okay. See you guys in the next part of this video. This is part 1. I'm probably gonna get some food, but see you then. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. See you. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.